Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. A natural beginning point that I have as I engage with people and events and circumstances, and I hope it's a beginning point that you can share as well, is simply this, and that is life is an ongoing learning process, especially in relationships. Now, there are certain facts and figures that might never change, but in relationships, there are all sorts of circumstances that might be fluid. There are people who are just simply not static. What you knew about them 10 years ago may not be relevant to where they are right now because all sorts of things may have been different. Your emotions and your responses that you have with other individuals aren't the same. I can promise you, being in my late 60s, I don't think the same as I did when I was in my late 20s. And it's not like I was an ignoramus back then. Some folks might argue with that. But at some point, it's like, well, there's certain things I still need to know and nuances I need to pick up on. And if you look at it from the notion that says life is all about an ongoing learning process, it can be exciting. I hope that when I'm in my late 90s, if I live to be that long, I'm still learning because it means that you're growing. It means that you're fresh. That means that you look at people and events with new sets of eyes sometimes when it's most necessary. To me, it's a good way to go. Now, I want you to think, how many times have you thought to yourself as you are adjusting and gaining insights or having knowledge or wisdom that you might not have had before? How many times have you thought, I'd like to sit down with that person over there who's the narcissist and just talk? And I'd like to say, here's where I have been. These are some of the interpretations, but this is how I see things a little differently, or I picked up on some new things that I hadn't learned before. Tell me about you, and I wonder if you would be willing to join me. And what you'll find is a narcissist, they don't think that way. One of the most favorite thoughts that a narcissist can nurse, sometimes they may say it out loud, and if they don't, they illustrate that they mean this inwardly, and that is, I know everything I already need to know. You don't need to teach me anything new. I know whatever it is that I need to know. And they kind of declare themselves to be a finished product, and it's like, oh, there's so many things that you think you know that you don't, and in their mind, it's like, no, that just shows that you're not as enlightened as me. I no longer need to explore. You just need to go along with me. And then we ask the question, why are narcissists so resistant to learning? Why are they so resistant to adjusting and shifting gears or adding to what they've already known or kind of shaving off some of the things that didn't work out well and adding some other kind of perspective? What's going on there? Well, I have 8 different things that I want to focus on that will talk with us about why they refuse and why they are unable to learn. Now, one of the first things I'm going to mention, number 1, is because narcissism is based upon the need to be in control of other individuals, it also leads to a need for them to be certain. When you have a sense that says, well, I'm not always certain, then the implication is I can't be in total control then. But because the need to be in control is so strong, they'll go ahead and have their fixed notions, forget about what the facts say, or forget about what kind of trends may be in play. It's like, I have to be in control. And because I have to be in control, I have to speak in certitudes. And that's an enormous beginning point for them. In addition, the second reason that they tend not to change or they tend not to learn and grow is narcissists see relationships in particular to be a competition. In their minds, there are winners, there are losers, and they have to be the winner, you have to be the loser, and they can't be subordinate to anyone. So when they say, well, maybe there's something I need to learn. In their mind, that means that they're putting themselves in a subordinate position, which means that you are in the advantage position. In the winners and losers paradigm, it's like, that doesn't work for me. I'm not doing that. Well, right along with that then, a third reason that they tend not to learn is that in their mind, admitting that you need to learn something equates to your own flaws and imperfections. You see, in their mind, their ego is so fragile that if they just say, there's some things that I'm just not on top of, or I used to think this way and it's proven not to be all that great, let's talk about that. I need to figure out what else I might need to pick up on. Well, what they would be saying in their mind is, I have now just admitted that I'm an inadequate person. I have now just admitted that I am imperfect and I'm flawed. And it's like, you are not about to get any kind of confession anywhere close to that from me. I don't do that. But you can see that that's part of their deep, entrenched insecurity. Now, a fourth reason they tend not to learn is learning requires effort. Learning requires initiative. And frankly, narcissists are what I refer to as psychologically lazy. It's like, don't make me think. I've already got my mind made up, and just please let me stay inside my own conceived notions, whether they're stupid notions or what. They're my notions. And so they like to just fall back on whatever's familiar because they don't want to have to work that hard at maintaining relationship growth. Which leads us to another thought, and that is number 5, they're constantly in a defense mode. You see, in that competitive kind of mindset, they're constantly wondering, well, if you want me to learn something, you're trying to tell me what to do, and I'm keeping my walls up. I don't do something like that. And so they quickly will justify their mistakes, or they'll rationalize their mistakes. And if you say, well, this didn't work out very well, I wonder if you'd be willing to adjust. It's like, who do you think you are coming against me? And you'll find that they have such a thick and impenetrable wall around themselves that they have a fear, and they have a sense of paranoia that settles in. That's like, no, I'm not going to take anything in. This wall is not going to be penetrated, which leads directly then to a sixth reason that these individuals have difficulty in learning, and that is they don't trust people. It's like, how do I know that what you would try to tell me, or anybody else for that matter, is really accurate and really to my benefit? And so whenever you come to them and you imply, well, there might be something that you could learn, or if somebody else suggests the same thing, you know what they do? They become the victim. You're trying to make my life miserable, aren't you? You're down on my case, aren't you? I wonder why that is. You've got it in for me, and I don't like that one bit, and they come off in that competitive kind of way then. Or a seventh reason that they won't learn is, and it's kind of unflattering for you to think this, but it might be, I just don't like you. So if they don't like you, or if they don't respect you, then the natural progression from that is, what in the world would you have to teach me? You're just, I don't like who you are. I don't like how you present yourself. I don't like how you think. And besides, if I allow you to teach me, then that might imply a compliment toward you. And since I don't like you, I don't want to pay any kind of compliments to you. Just get out of here, will you? And then an eighth reason that narcissists can't grow is, for the longest time, these individuals are so stuck in their own concrete, imperative, must have to kind of thinking that they have never really learned to appreciate nuance. Every situation has some elements that might be a little bit different from something they've experienced. There's a backstory that people bring that might not be the same as their backstory. Each person has distinctives. Each person has different temperament types that they operate with. And in order to be able to go into that kind of space and learn from that, it requires this characteristic, we call it empathy, trying to know who you are from your vantage point, so that they can understand some of your unique things that would make you distinct. That's the nuances. It's like, nah, it's just one size fits all, and you need to get inside the mold, and guess who wrote the mold? Guess who designed the mold? Me. Just get inside that. Now, they won't necessarily say, I don't need to learn, but you'll know that you've hit that button when you can see how easily angered they are when a suggestion of them needing to learn might come around. They'll argue easily. They're absurdly stubborn. They go into accusations toward you, and that's their way of saying, I don't want to learn, but they just won't say it that way. They give out all these kind of cues that says, no, my mind's already made up. Don't confuse me with any kind of different thought. Now, I hate to put it this way, but there are just times when you have to come to the conclusion you just can't fix stupid. And anybody that has half of a brain would realize, of course there's learning. The older you get, we get to call it wisdom. And it's like, nah, I've got plenty of that stuff anyway. Nobody can tell me. It's like, okay. Now, in doing so, they prove that they have not moved beyond pre-adolescent thinking where everything has to line up. There's the rules, there's the regulations, there's just their selfish desires. That's about the only thing that motivates them. And in fact, if anything, when you suggest that you might need to, that they might need to adjust, they'll just go heavier into the control mode. No, let me tell you, you need to adjust, and they'll just keep coming at you with that. So, whenever a person shows that they are unwilling to learn, what they're saying is, I don't want to let go of all of these patterns that I have in my life that don't work. And I'm committed to them. I'm committed to my dysfunction. And my response to that is going to be, okay, I'm learning something here. And I've learned that in order for me to be true to who I am, I need to keep an open and expansive mind. And if you're not able to be with me, A, I'm going to dumb down my expectations for where you are. And B, I'm going to need to do a lot of learning and growing separate from where you are, because I never want to stop. So I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness of what you're dealing with. Narcissists want to desperately let you think that you're the bad guy in all of this. We're not talking about bad guys. We're just talking about what does and does not work. And I hope that you can have your own individuation even when they choose to be quite distinct from you. Lost Gus on that one. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, Gus and I will keep more videos coming toward you. And I appreciate you allowing me to be on your journey with you. I consider it to be an honor. And if you have a need for a therapist, sometimes when you're dealing with these kind of things, it helps to have somebody unpack this with you. I'm so pleased that we've been sponsored for years now by the people at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy service. We have a link below here, and it will take you to a whole team of licensed professional therapists. It's accessible, and I've had a lot of good feedback on that. Likewise, we also have my therapeutic courses, and these are like signing up for an online class. And each course has multiple videos with written documents and guided questions that would help you. We have This Is Me, about setting boundaries, Free to Be, finding yourself despite the controllers, Ready, Set, Connect, about making good connection skills, and I also have some webinars that are shorter that would be available. So avail yourself to all of that. In addition, we have my Surviving Narcissism podcast. For those of you who are in that world, we have our website with lots of articles. We have my books, lots of resources, and go ahead and avail yourself. And I want you to be an ongoing learner. You know, it's sad when somebody says, I don't want to learn. They don't stagnate. They go backwards. And in their movement backwards, they want to bring you with them. It's like, no, I want to be a forward-moving kind of person. I want to be open to ideas and insights and awarenesses, because I want to be a person that stays stimulated and is somebody that can expand my capacity for knowing and engaging well with other individuals. And in doing so, it positions you to have relational success and to have your own internal sense of well-being and peace.